Concentrating. Eyes are closed.
In one of the quietest scenes in Tony Scott's 2004 film, Man on Fire, a man coaches a little girl from the side of the swimming pool. He holds a stopwatch like it's a relic from another life, his voice low, controlled, almost gentle.
10.99.
Yes! Whoa! I'm tough, Creasy.
Yeah? No such thing as tough. There's trained, and then there's untrained. And now which are you?
Trained.
Trained. Okay, let's go again.
Man on Fire is Tony Scott's most personal film, and his most complete. A blood-soaked tale of revenge and retribution, yes, but at its core, it's a story about the relationship between a man hollowed out by guilt and the child who teaches him it's okay to live again. It's also a film that never, ever fails to make me cry. The scene that follows this training sequence is the beating heart of the film, and its impact only deepens with every rewatch. Each time I know it's coming, and each time, it breaks me.
Buenas tardes, señor Creasy. Mucho gusto en conocer.
You hear me?
Yes.
To understand why, we must first learn what these two have come to mean to one another. We must see where Creasy's journey begins, and how his relationship with Peter gives him purpose again, and dares him to hope for something long since forsaken. Redemption.
Well deserved. You think God will forgive us for what we've done? You don't.
Denzel Washington's John Creasy is an ex-soldier whose battle against his own demons is all but lost. He takes a job he doesn't care about for a family he doesn't respect in a city he doesn't understand. As bodyguard to Lupita Ramos, daughter of a wealthy couple in Mexico City, he manages to maintain an appearance of stoic professionalism. But at night, he descends alone into a black pit of self-loathing and bourbon-saturated tears. Creasy's despair is tinged with a biblical weight.
You think God will forgive us for what we've done?
We are given no details of his former life, yet the shape of who he was emerges in shadows and fragments. A man sent to deliver death on behalf of a system that cared nothing for him, nor his victims. He is haunted by the suffering he has caused, and no longer saves any hope for himself. Spiritually exhausted and overwhelmed by guilt and trauma, Creasy craves not forgiveness, but connection, a way back to his own humanity. He says as much the one time he speaks openly to the headmistress at Peter's school.
The Bible says, be not overcome of evil, but
Overcome evil with good. Romanos capítulo 12, versículo 21. I'm the sheep that got lost, Marjorie.
Creasy knows his scripture, and from this confession we understand that he is a man lost in the wilderness, waiting for someone, anyone, to show him the way home.
Kid Creasy, did you like school?
I don't remember.
You don't remember?
No, I don't remember. No, I didn't like it.
Were you unhappy? Hola, Bruno.
Buenas tardes.
That's Bruno the gardener.
Peter Ramos, the little girl Creasy has been hired to protect, does something unusual. She treats him like a human being. Not a guard, not a weapon. A person.
You got a TV and a CD player. What kind of music do you like, Mr. Creasy?
I don't know.
Her emotional intelligence disarms him, and her curiosity digs into places he has spent years burying.
My bird.
How'd you like Mr. Creasy?
He's like a bear, too.
Yeah?
Big, sad bear.
Is he sad?
I think, or something.
She sees right through him,
Crazy bear.
and she claims him, softly, innocently, before he ever realizes he belongs to her.
What happened to your hand?
But when her questions scrape too close to the bone, Creasy retreats behind his walls.
I'm not being paid to be your friend. I'm being paid to protect you. So no more questions. That's it. Period.
Her hurt is immediate. His shame is deeper. The distance he keeps from his young charge is entirely self-inflicted, and he knows it. Alone again, he falls further. Bourbon, tears, the gun. Until finally, failure to fire.
Like we used to say, bullet always tells the truth.
The truth is that Creasy wants out, but cannot take the final step. Peter witnesses the aftermath from the window. Rain on the glass, tears on his face. She sees him at his absolute weakest, with no armor left to hide behind. And though they never speak of it, something shifts. Her eyes linger on him in the mirror of the car, while his flicker away, ashamed and exposed. And yet, something has broken open. One weekend, Creasy watches Peter race at a local swim meet. She finishes third. It takes him seconds to diagnose the problem.
You're the fastest one in the water. You're the slowest one off the blocks. What do you think that means? What do you got to do?
Get faster off the block.
Get faster off the blocks.
It is the first time he reaches for her, not out of duty, but instinctively. And in that simple gesture, their relationship quietly enters a new phase. A phase that will lead directly into the moment that breaks me every time. The training, the stopwatch, and the race she will win because of him.
Hey! Stop. Come back. Hey!
We build meaning out of relationships and out of purpose.
Without them, we can collapse inward into addiction, nihilism, guilt.
Bang! Bang!
For Creasy, meaning is something long since forgotten, buried under years of violence and self-loathing. But in training Peter, something changes.
Listen for the sound you don't anticipate.
His soldier's instincts, resolve, discipline, focus, are repurposed. What once served death now empowers a little girl trying to find her strength. And as she shaves seconds off her time, Creasy recognizes something in himself he thought he'd lost forever. The ability to help someone. The stopwatch moment says, this is who you are when someone believes in you. This is who you can be when someone demands your best. Here is the truth of your potential.
10.99.
Whoa! I'm tough, Creasy.
And in return, Peter reveals a truth to him, that he still has value, as a teacher, a guide, even a friend. By the time of the race, Creasy has invested too much of himself to pretend he doesn't care.
Stand here near the finish line.
Okay. Hey,
I'm a prisoner in the blocks until the gunshot sets me free.
that's right. Don't smile, don't fool around if you
Okay.
want to win. You want to win?
Yes.
Trained or untrained?
Trained.
Go.
Senor Creasy, nice to see you.
Oh, good to see you, Madre. Peter's parents are away on business in Juarez.
Today, you are her father.
He watches Peter step onto the blocks with a mixture of pride, fear, and something he barely recognizes, hope. In her determination, he sees the path back to life, Peter as the shepherd he never expected, bringing him in from the cold. And when she wins, when she leaps into his arms and her voice breaks with joy, Creasy feels something he almost cannot bear, the return of goodness, of pride, of love. It overwhelms him, and every time, it gets me too.
I've thought a lot about why this moment affects me so much. The feeling is hard to describe, because it's not sadness that brings the tears. It's something deeper.
Something like watching two broken pieces fit together in a way that feels briefly, unbearably bright. It's in the connection between a damaged man and a boldly curious, emotionally fearless child. A tiny, painful glimmer of hope at the center of a dark cloud of nihilism and despair. Peeta seems like a carefree, privileged child, but she is emotionally underfed, starved of attention and genuine warmth. Creasy may be a spiritually ruined man, but inside him is a reservoir of unused love, loyalty, protectiveness, all the things he no longer believes he is worthy of giving. And what moves me the most is the way Peeta senses this.
Creasy, you're smiling.
What?
You were smiling.
With a wisdom beyond her years, she leads him out of the darkness the way a child leads a wounded animal, gently, patiently, and without fear. And he meets her without his defenses, not as a soldier and not as a bodyguard, but as an equal, a friend, a man learning slowly, painfully, that he is still allowed to care.
You smiled already. See, you did. No, that wasn't. That was a smirk. That was a smirk. That's not a smile. A smirk is different. They both start with S, but they're not the same.
You were. Okay. I think now is as good a time as any. Bought it with my own money.
When she gives him the St. Jude pendant,
Open it.
it's not just a gift. It's the moment she tells him, without words, that he's worth saving.
It's St. Jude, patron saint of lost causes.
And the tragedy, the part that cuts the deepest, is that Creasy's rebirth comes just in time for it to be taken away.
Thank you, Peeta. It's beautiful.
You're welcome.
This warm, brief flash of humanity is the last light before the story descends back into darkness.
Lupita Ramos.
For a brief moment, Creasy's world glows.
For you, Creasy.
He has purpose. He has connection.
Thank you.
And finally, he has something to lose.
Senor John W. Creasy is under arrest for the murder of 2 officers of the Judicial Police.
just like that, the light goes out.
Do as I say. Yes. Hey. Hey.
Hey, right. What's the matter?
Just that Chris.
Creasy's new world is destroyed. Hope doesn't just leave him, it's torn from him, violently, pointlessly. A man who had only just remembered he could feel, now feels nothing but loss. The purpose Peter gave him has been shattered, and something harder and darker takes its place. No longer able to protect Peter's body, he becomes a protector of her memory, her dignity, her meaning.
What are you gonna do?
What I do best. I'm gonna kill him. Anyone that was involved, anybody who profited from it, anybody who opens their eyes at me.
A soldier, burdened by the violence of his past, Creasy now finds himself declaring war on the corrupt system that stole his last chance at a second life. In that shift, he also becomes the one force holding the adults in her world accountable.
A man can be an artist. And anything, food, whatever. It depends on how good he is at it. Creasy's art is dead. He's about to paint his masterpiece. Revenge is a meal best served cold.
But Creasy's story isn't really about revenge. What we see in Creasy after Peter's death is something far deeper and far more human. Creasy can't save her body, but he can save what she meant to him, the part of her that brought him back to life. And in that choice, in that burden he picks up willingly, Creasy finds something he thought lost forever: meaning. Because suffering, when it is chosen for love, can become the closest thing we have to redemption. Life is suffering. Every philosophy, every religion, every human story begins here. Buddhism names it directly: dukkha, the inescapable friction of existence. The Bible speaks in images of wandering, of lost sheep and wayward sons. Religions have long tried to teach us good from evil. But what else can evil be, if not meaningless suffering, inflicted for greed or cruelty? Suffering that teaches nothing, saves nothing, and redeems no one. But not all suffering is destructive and meaningless. Suffering can also be transformative, and Man on Fire understands this. Before Peter, Creasy was a man drowning in his own history, guilt with no outlet, trauma with no purpose, pain that cycled inward towards self-destruction. But when she's taken from him, when the one person who rekindled his humanity is ripped away, his suffering transforms, and his grief over her loss sharpens into deadly purpose. Creasy isn't seeking forgiveness or glory. He isn't even seeking revenge in the ordinary sense. Instead, he is seeking meaning, the one thing he lost long before he lost Peter. So when he believes she is dead, his purpose becomes terrifyingly simple: to destroy the machinery of cruelty that devoured her. His suffering becomes a weapon he willingly turns on the world. But then, somehow, hope re-emerges.
I'm listening. I'm listening, Daniel.
I will give you her life for your life.
What life? Whose life?
The girls. Peter's. Remember, I will give you her life for your life and the life of my brother.
Okay. Okay.
Peter is alive. Alive and held by the very man Creasy has been hunting. What had been a campaign of righteous destruction becomes something far more intimate. A life defined by taking now finds its meaning in giving, completely, quietly, without hesitation. And this is what elevates Man on Fire beyond violence, beyond revenge, beyond tragedy.
Hello.
Because Creasy chooses to lay down his life so that Peter can reclaim hers. It is no longer the fury of a wounded man striking back at the world. It is instead the ultimate act of love. Why does Man on Fire always make me cry? I think it always comes back to one moment. Here. When Peter leaps into Creasy's arms, crying with joy, for the first time in years, he feels something good. A moment of pure, undeserved grace that becomes the fulcrum upon which the entire film pivots. Before the race, Creasy is sinking. After it, he begins to rise, slowly, painfully, towards the man he was meant to be. This is why his sacrifice devastates me, because he gives up the life he had only just regained, because it represents the human instinct to suffer willingly so that innocence may be spared, and because in Creasy's choices, the film reveals something universal. Sacrifice is the highest form of love. This is a human story, repeated across cultures. The warrior, the father, the guardian, the shepherd.
Hi.
A man choosing to absorb the darkness, so a child may remain in the light.
Okay, you go on.
Where are you going?
I'm going home too. Going to Blue Bayou.
I love you, Gracie. And you love me, don't you?
Yes, I do. With all my heart, Peter, go. Go, run.
film Life is Beautiful, a father uses imagination and joy to shield his son from the horrors of a concentration camp. In Saving Private Ryan, men give their lives to rescue the final son of a devastated family. These stories move us because they show us what goodness looks like when it comes at great cost. We cry not only for the sacrifice, but because sacrifice awakens gratitude. A deep, instinctive gratitude that the world contains people capable of this kind of heroism, and that goodness can survive even in the darkest of places. And gratitude, by its nature, is painful. It hurts because it acknowledges a debt we can never repay. And when Creasy makes that final choice, he completes the journey that began at the edge of the pool. And we understand that this is the kind of love we all hope exists in the world. Creasy's final act is not the death of a warrior. It is the grace of a man who has finally understood what his life was for. His walk to the car makes me cry, not because he is dying, but because what he's doing is beautiful.